Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House Live, 105.5 The Mix. We're going to talk a little bit something different today. My buddy Taylor's joining us. Good morning, brother.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you in. You know, one of the things that I know lots about is houses. One of the things I don't know nothing about is cars. And so Taylor and I met through looking at a truck you had, and we just kind of hit it off. And he did something that makes me happy. Even though I didn't purchase the truck that he has, he guided me on a truck that I did purchase and gave me some great advice. And I said, man, would you come in and just talk on the radio with us? And he's like, well, I've never done that before, but heck yeah, I'll come in and do it. And, you know, there's too many people in this world that, you know, what we strive to do at Rick's House is we strive to make sure that we have people that we can recommend to you, Skip, that we know and we trust and are going to shoot you straight.
Yes.
It was more important to Taylor that I got the vehicle I was looking for than him selling me that vehicle.
Very nice.
Which now he'll sell it to you. No. But man, you just helped me so much. And so we got to talking. I said, you know, would you think about coming on the show? He said, yeah, I'll do that. So he's on the show today. So we're kind of shifting gears. We're always available for home improvement.
No pun intended.
Yeah. That come out and I didn't even know it. I ain't even spent my coffee yet.
Yeah, no.
So the call-in line's open, 865-932-7449, 865-932-7449. And also the Miracle Method message line is open and prepared for texting. For those of you who don't like to talk on the phone, we'll take a text message, 865, I ain't got my glasses, 865-255-3911 is how you get us on that. But, well, I put a set in the new truck. No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
So if my arm was long enough, I'd read it to you. But it ain't. So, and of course, you can, those of you listening to us on the 2 Facebook channels and YouTube, and of course on the stream at mixx1055.com. Dang, I'm on a roll.
Look at there. Dang,
that's what that good Mexican food will do.
You need to go buy you a lottery ticket for tonight.
Man, goodness. I'm telling you.
You own it.
I got a buddy out. This is a true story. I got a buddy that lives in Alabama. Bless him.
We'll hold that against him.
But he will come to Tennessee, and he will go and he will buy 2 lottery tickets, $20 tickets. This is every time. I'm not talking about every other time. I'm not talking about once in a while. I'm talking about every time he comes, he buys one, and he tells my wife. My wife loves to scratch off. Man, she'll scratch that. She loves to take that quarter and scratch off and see if she's won. He'll say, okay, you pick which one you want. She'll pick one. She'll scratch it off, win nothing. He'll win $500. She said, how does he do that? I said, I don't know. He's just got the golden touch.
It's the Midas touch.
It's the Midas touch. So, you know, so we got that going on. So Taylor, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and where folks can find you and that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm located in Halls, work with Iron Horse Auto on the north end of Halls. I've been doing this professionally about 15 years, but I did buy my first vehicle at 12 years old.
No joke.
And do a lot of wholesaling. Don't sit out and retail 40 or 50 a month like I used to, but just kind of go on a case by case and to the individual and try to help people find what they're looking for, sort of like you, whether you buy from me or not. If I can point you in the right direction on what you're trying to buy and advise you, then as long as the customer's satisfied, I'm satisfied either way.
Absolutely. And, you know, it says something. Have you always just had an interest in cars? I mean, has that kind of been your
always had an interest in it? I'll tell you exactly what got me started was the Dukes of Hazzard. But generally the 69 Charger. So telling you, I bought that first car at 12 years old. All I wanted was a 69 Charger. Well, I couldn't afford that, but I found in the old trusty Bargain Mart a 74 Dodge Charger SC.
Oh,
it was $250. I bought it and started trading from there and never looked back. By the time I was 16, I'd traded into 2 Camaros and a 71 Nova.
Come on.
Oh, God.
Wow. And so you just had the bug from day one.
Had the bug, loved it. My little 7-year-old boy is the same way. At 4 years old, he could stand in any parking lot, not just tell you the make and model, but the trim level, the alloy wheels, if the tires were good. He travels to the auction with me and helps me pick them out. And so I'd say he's going to follow right behind me in what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a great feeling. Morning, Brian. Good to see you out there with us this morning. Appreciate you listening in Lacey, Washington State.
Oh, hey, the little boy kind of like the girl on My Cousin Vinny.
Yes. He'll sit there and tell you whether it's Positrack and it didn't come in this year with this motor.
Does he correct you if you miss something?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And he'll find things I don't see. When you're at an auction and you're looking at 250 cars and I'm trying to find what I buy, he'll say, "Hey, here's a Toyota Venza that fits us. We need to go look at it."
My gosh. Wow.
That's awesome.
Incredible.
It's incredible how that goes along. It's got to make you proud as a dad.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the thing. And like I said, I'm as lost as a ball in the high weeds when I get into the car world. I mean, it's just something. I bought my first car when I was 14, and it was a 55 Chevrolet. I think I told Taylor about this. I don't know if I did or not, but because I can't remember nothing. I'm old. But anyway, and it was in a stock. It was in a barn in Kodak.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, hey. Right here in Greater Kodak. And so the story goes that they had stripped it. It had 56,000 original miles on the two-door 55 Chevrolet, two-door Post Bel Air. And they'd stripped that thing down and was getting ready to make a dirt car out of it. And I bought it for $400 and started working on it. I worked on it all the way up till I was 16 years old. We got the engine built and all that kind of stuff, and ended up getting it going and put 283 in it and had Krager mags and the whole deal back in the day. And then of course then I got married and that goes away, and I sold it to a buddy of mine who had another 55 Chevrolet, and I actually saw my car on YouTube the other day.
Oh. And
I asked my buddy who he sold it to, and sure enough, it was my car because we painted it black cherry maroon. So at night it looked like it was black. A real deep maroon color.
Nice.
And so we did that, and that's how we got into that. The funny side of that story is I was looking through I was missing some chrome. They took the chrome off. It had bumpers on it, and we had those re-chromed. But I was looking for the little Bel Air bird and all the stuff. And I was looking through once again the Bargain Mart back in the day. I missed the Bargain Mart, and I saw this ad on there. It said 4 boxes of Chevrolet parts for 55 Chevrolet, $100. So I'm like, So I told my dad. He said, "Well, call him." And so this lady answered, and she said, "I got chrome birds, Bel Air clocks, dash parts, side strips. I've got 3 fenders, extra fenders, because they rust out underneath where the headlights are." She said, "I got bumpers." I mean, she went down the list.
And Rick said, "Sold."
And I said, "Well, what are you asking for?" She said, $100 bill. I said, "I'm on my way."
Yeah.
So I get there, and I had a truck that I drove back then, and I get there, and there are boxes. I mean, just piled up. This is in a great big garage on their property, and they lived up in the country up in Maynardville. And I got there, and it was thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and that had been redone, replated. I mean, everything. And I said, I'll take it all, but I feel bad about, can I not pay you more rent? She said, "That no good husband of mine."
Oh.
She said, "He'll find out I got $100 for it when he comes home, if he comes home." And I thought, oh boy. I told my dad, I said, "Let's load this stuff up and get out of here because she's selling everything in the garage." I mean, she had stuff going out the door, bro.
Wow.
And I ended up parting out what I didn't need and paying for the car.
Oh yeah.
Because it's stuff so hard to find.
Yeah.
When you get into classics like that. So. But that's my total experience with cars. I just figured out, I do wood. That's what I do. I knock on wood. Yeah. So that's why we got Taylor in here today to talk about that. What do you look for when you go to the auction and you're looking for vehicles? I mean, what do you look for? What do you stay away from? What do you know? I know, not to put you on the spot, but you're an expert in this field, and I'm know nothing.
The biggest thing I look for is bang for the buck dollar wise.
Mhm.
So, to the NADA, to the book, what the car's worth versus what you've got to pay for it. Because that always gives you the ability to be back of NADA on your car, whether it's for insurance reason, whether it's a bank loan reason. And, try to avoid rust, but you're going to get into it a little bit. Big thing that does not turn me off is miles. I will buy stuff with miles on it. I had an Accord last week, a 14 model with 317,000 miles that ran better than 9 out of 10 Accords out there with 150,000 on it. And so if you can get in that later model stuff that's $5,000-$6,000 back of NADA, whether the reason be miles, a little bit of damage, maybe something small mechanically, but that's going to run for you,
Right.
then you can always stay good that way. I see so many people get buried, and I'm sure you have too, get buried upside down.
That's a horrible thing.
When their vehicle's worth $10,000 less than their payoff or, what they've paid for the car. It's just all about being back of that NADA regardless of the reason.
Well, and that makes sense. There's something in my brain that says, "Hey, Ron, good morning, brother. Good to see you." If it's run 300,000, something's good about it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They need to be driven. Sitting is the death of one. And I'll tell you an example. I've got a 2015 Hyundai Genesis right now that's got 18,000 miles on it. The car is flawless, but the injectors are gummed up where it's not been driven. Sit with the ethanol fuel in it.
Yeah.
And so, like you just kind of said, when you're looking at one or two cars, for instance, say they're both 10 years old, one's got 250,000, one's got 100,000. To me, that 250,000 mile car, again, like you just said, has gone the distance. It's been driven, it runs. All your wear and tear stuff's going to have been replaced, your alternator, ball joints, brake pads, things like that.
Right.
And as long as it's been maintained.
Right.
But then you get into the same 10-year-old car with 100,000 on it, start driving it every day, then those things are going to start going down.
Right.
Alternator, fuel filters, moving parts in the front end. And so again, miles don't scare me. And there's so many people that just will not touch one if it's over a certain amount. So, some people 100,000 is where they want to be.
Right.
The majority of people 200,000 and up, that's too many miles for them.
Right.
Whereas, so I've got a 2014 Honda CRV sitting out here with 230,000 miles. It's priced $6,900. If that car had 130,000 on it, it'd be priced $14,000.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. And people are going to buy miles. And that's one of the things I see the most is 9 out of 10 people will pass on a vehicle with some miles on it, regardless of the price. But you'll get the one that comes along that doesn't care about them and will just take the deal.
Right. And that's kind of the way, I don't know, since I do Rick's house now, and with the mobility issues and things that I have, I don't work like I used to. Mm-hmm. Just simply because I can't.
Yeah.
So I'm more budget wise, I guess, because of, I'd say if I spend this much, I don't get to do this.
Yeah.
I like doing this.
Exactly right.
So my grandfather told me when I was a young man, he said, "Son, it's not what you make, it's what you keep."
Yeah.
And that has stuck with me, especially in my later years, when you start remembering that, those things that, he's gone now. And the gentleman I bought the truck from yesterday is 84 years old, and he got it, and he said, "Just come to the house," and his granddaughter was selling it for her papaw.
Yeah, good girl.
And papaw and mama was there. And she, in all things, his wife has neuropathy really bad, like I do. And so she came out and we talked about that because she's having some difficulties, and it's a debilitating thing. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so he said, "Take it and drive it." He said, I don't need to go. I said, you and Mama take it and drive it, because Amy was with me. And so we took it and drove it and brought it back. And I pulled it in the driveway, and he started to come out, and he said, let me show you this, and let me show you that, and I did this, and had to do that, and this, that, and the other. And I'd called Taylor, and I said, it leaks a little bit of transmission fluid, and I was concerned about that till I got to him. And he said, well, let me tell you. He said, I was underneath it, and he said, I was changing oil, and he said, I just was checking the bolts on the pan of the transmission, and he said, I was tightening just to make sure everything was good, and he said, I stripped one. He said, and that's the reason it leaks. He said, it leaks just a bit, very little, because that bolt's stripped. And he said, I thought, I ain't fooling with that. He said, so I check it and make sure it's got fluid in it. And man, that thing, when I drove it, Taylor, I asked him about it, because I wasn't going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, dude, drive it.
Yeah.
If it, and does it shift good? Is it forcing itself in? Is it, man, that thing drives like it's brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then when I said, well, let's go up on the porch and talk about it. So we sat on the rocking chairs in the porch, and he told me everything about it since he had it, everything he'd done to it, how he'd maintained it, what he used it for. Now the inside looks like a farm truck, and it's got the dings and scratches and all those kinds of things, but I don't care about that.
No.
That don't bother what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
What I need it for is to hook up to a fifth wheel and move it 2 feet in the, somewhere, or take it from point A to point B, or pull our 40-foot trailer. And so then it was time to negotiate.
No, the negotiate.
Yeah. And I just, out of respect, I could have bought the truck a little cheaper, but I said, what does it take to buy it? He gave me a number. I said, that's close. What about this? He said, I can do that. Put his hand out.
Yeah.
The deal was done. And I counted the man cash and sat there and visited with him on the porch for another 10, 15 minutes.
Dang, you go there, Barney Fife, sit on the porch at Andy's house.
Hey, but that's the transaction I like.
Yeah.
And I would have passed on that truck, because I called a buddy of mine that runs a shop. He's like, well, if we drop that pan and it's got shavings in, it's got this, it's got that, you get into, a lot of money. But when I talked to Taylor, he was like, dude, here's what you need to do. So I got the truck I was looking for, tickled to death. And then it's got a couple little things. And he told me, so when we get done today, we'll go out there and see what that is. It's one of two things. Bam, bam.
Yeah.
And it's simple.
Yeah.
It's simple stuff to somebody that knows.
Somebody that knows.
To me, it's like, I don't know why them windshield wipers don't work. So we got a question in the chat room. Let's see what it says. Ask him what he thinks about the 211 CTSV. It's a 211 CTSV with 10,000 miles on it. Any trans leaks is not good. Trans does not like heat. 2011 CTSV. Hey, I can't believe I forgot my spectacles.
What's the CTSV?
Is that a Cadillac?
That's what okay. CTSV. That's just the trim. Now, what was his question about it?
It's got 10,000 miles on it. His question was about the transmission in it. It doesn't like heat, and he said, what about leaks in it?
The GM transmissions in those it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to go out on you at 100,000 miles, or it's going to run for 300,000. If it doesn't like the heat, what I would do is you get this part cheap, have it put on, or do it yourself, but is a aftermarket external transmission cooler.
Yeah.
It looks just like your radiator, about the size of your clipboard there, and clips onto the front of the radiator.
Yeah.
And then you just bypass into the lines for the factory transmission cooler, and that's going to keep you cooled down and probably give you a little bit more life out of your transmission.
Okay.
Oh, look at there.
It's good to know. It's good to know.
There.
Listen, we got to take that first time out.
We do.
Let some of the folks that bring us the Rick's House program get recognized. We come back. We got Taylor in the house, and we're talking all things cars today. And trucks, and so if you got a question about that, we'll do that. This is unusual for Rick's House, but I was fortunate enough for our paths to cross, and I said, man, let's do this thing. Let's put out the information out there that our listening audience can do. You can call us. We'll be nice. Use a fake name. We don't care. If you got any parts to sell and your husband's gone. or ain't doing right. Taylor buys stuff cheap.
Oh my gosh. That's
Cash
funny.
money.
That's funny.
But anyway, all jokes aside, you call us 865-932-7449 or reach out to us on the Miracle Method message line with a text message at 865-255-3911. You're listening to Rick's House Saturday morning. We'll be right back.
This is Local News 4. And now for the weather.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, it looks like this summer will be one of the coolest on record.
Oh, really? Where?
At Dollywood Splash Country, the most trusted water park in the Smokies, where you can enjoy more than 20 slides, Tennessee's first water coaster, live music by the wave pool, and more. Just plan your trip at Dollywood.com.
Dollywood. Love every moment.
Experience hanging metal on NASCARs. And you put that into another business. The business I'm talking about, Miracle Method Resurfacing in Knoxville. My buddy Chris Stacy and his team are there for the detail. There for as good as a job can get. They understand working with tight tolerances and working with a finish that has to be almost perfect. If you're thinking about redoing your countertop, maybe you're thinking about redoing that avocado green bathtub, or maybe you're thinking about that epoxy floor for your hot rod in your garage. Think nowhere else. Miracle Method of Knoxville is the place that can help your dreams come true about that new tile surface or any other finish in your home. Call them today, 865-693-5522. 865-693-5522. Tell them Rick's House sent you.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Spring showers are here, and while the weather outside might be gray, Sexy Stuff has everything you need to brighten up your day indoors. At Sexy Stuff, we believe that rainy days are the perfect excuse to stay in and enjoy a little extra pleasure. Whether you're looking to spice things up solo or with someone special, we've got an exciting collection of toys, accessories, and more. Rain or shine, it's always the perfect time for some you time. Visit our Sevierville location or sexystuff.com. Sexy Stuff, we got the stuff.
Did you know that the Cherokee Group offers plumbing, electrical, and heating and air services? For over 25 years, their team has provided quality service to many in Sevier County. From individual homeowners to major resorts and cabin companies, their team of skilled professionals can diagnose and fix any mechanical issue in your home or business. Don't let unexpected equipment breakdowns ruin your day or cause business disruptions. Locally owned and operated. Call the experts at the Cherokee Group today. 865-428-6919.
Looking for a great deal on a new or used vehicle? Head to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport, Tennessee. Just a short drive from Sevierville on West Highway 2570. We've got over 100 pre-owned vehicles with a wide selection of makes and models, all at low prices. Plus, we're clearing out space for 2025 models. So now's the time to save big. Financing available for all credit types. Don't miss out. Come to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport today. Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. West Highway 2570 Newport. Your next ride is waiting.
Fireworks! Gorilla fireworks! The gorilla says free fireworks just for stopping in. Free gorilla for the kids. A free $20 gift. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of Black Cat and M80 brand fireworks. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of mortars and artillery shells. 2 full floors of fireworks shopping fun. Gorilla Fireworks, next to Sexy Stuff on Highway 66, Sevierville.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Popper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561.
WSEV-FM, Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee's new mix, 105.5.
Waking up between you and Mama every Saturday morning. Lord, it must be a big old bed. You're listening to Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House, live on 105.5 The Mix. Good Saturday morning to you. Glad to have you here with us as the skipster runs the board.
Moving switches over here.
Moving switches and switching moves. I don't know. My buddy Taylor joins us this morning, and we're talking all things cars. We've got Brian on the phone. We'll go to him in just a minute. But before we do, we had a conversation during the timeout, and we're talking about, my truck has a transmission leak. But it's because the bolt was stripped, and Taylor was telling me, he said, sometimes you can create more problem if it's not major, because it's not, by opening something up because it's got used to it. And then you open it up and you clean it out and you put something new in there. It changes everything in there that has been running fine. And so all of a sudden it runs better for a little bit, and then it goes, uh-oh, this is not what I'm used to. And then you end up costing yourself $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Same thing with your water heater in your house.
Yes.
That's what we were talking about. Most plumbers will tell you if, and Will from All Clear Plumbing's a plumber, you know that.
Yes, we do.
But anyway, we'll talk about him today too. But you should flush your water heater in your house once a year. But if you didn't start that on day one, don't start it in years 5.
No.
Because you will change what's going on in that, and it will cause lots of trouble. So if you did it from the beginning, that's great. Your water heater is going to last longer, as it should. But if you didn't start it early, don't start it now, because you're going to change you said change the viscosity of the fluids. Same with the water. You're going to change how what's in there and what it's used to working with. And sometimes because all of a sudden it's different.
Yeah.
And you end up replacing the water heater, and they're not cheap anymore.
No, gosh.
They're not cheap. So same difference, maintenance, but sometimes maintenance can be knowing what you should and shouldn't do. Is that a good way to put it, Taylor?
That's it. And then, also not just doing that transmission fluid, but where he stripped the bolt in the pan.
Yeah.
If it's just that one spot and you've got that small leak, it's probably worth it just to let that be versus taking the pan down and redoing it, because you risk stripping another bolt or bending something and causing more of a leak.
Exactly. And by the way, our buddy Anita
Yeah.
has joined us on in Facebook.
Hey,
good
hello.
morning, Miss Anita.
Good morning,
Cozy
sunshine.
Mountain Cabins. If you ain't been to Cozy Mountain Cabins, you have missed out. Yes, you have. You have missed out. She's got 18 cabins ready for your occupation.
Ready for you to occupy. Occupation. She ain't going to put you to work.
She will. She said, "Boy, you think you're going up there and you ain't going to do something right there? You home improvement man? Hey, I need that door fixed."
yeah, the one the bear got.
Yeah, and the appropriate response is, "Yes, ma'am."
Yes, ma'am.
So, Cozy Mountain Cabins, find them online, give Anita a call, and she'll take care of you. If you're in the sound of my listening, if you're listening within the sound of my voice, I'll get it right in a minute. And you're staying up here, but you'd like to stay somewhere different next time, hey, give her a call, 865-660-0340, Cozy Mountain Cabins. We love them. You'll love them too.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phone lines and bring Brother Brian in. Brother Brian from Lacey, Washington, what's going on, sir?
Hey, good morning, Uncle Rick, sir.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for taking my call, sir.
You betcha.
Outstanding show again, and this is a great topic that you threw out there. I wanted to ask
Taylor,
your guest. First of all, does he know that Stan's a roundy round guy?
I did not know that.
And like we discussed last weekend, if you can turn on the street, you ain't going fast enough.
There you go. Yes, sir.
I got a quick question for your guy. Where is he located at? I missed that part, and I'm sorry about that. Where is he located at?
So my shop, the shop that I work for, is in Halls, Tennessee, on the north end of Halls on Maynardville Highway.
which is close to us here at the radio station. Yeah, it's about 30 minutes.
Okay.
So he's in
Okay.
greater Knoxville area.
And can I ask him a quick question
Sure.
on what his has he heard of Skip White Performance Motors?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Skip White Performance Motors.
I have not, sir.
Oh, okay. I was just kind of curious. I'm in the Northwest, and God, don't shun me for this, please. I watch Street Outlaws.
We're not going to shun you. Go ahead.
So don't hold that against me. But talking and being able to text back and forth to a couple of the drivers in your area, they recommended me to purchase a Skip White Performance motor, which is a 383. It dynos out at about 560 and about 510 on the torque. Very, very pleased with that. I've not had any issues or anything like that, but I wasn't sure if he's heard about about these guys before. And I was just kind of looking for his opinion on that.
No,
That's what I was kind of looking for.
I have not heard about that particular group, sir. Or does the motor seem to be pretty good that you got from them?
Actually, quite yes. No oil leaks, no funny shifting, no cam quote overlap because of the 383 providing over 500 horsepower, which I hear from my car guys that can create. Have you heard of the word cam overlap before?
Yes.
And what is your opinion on that cam overlap?
I've not had much experience with it or had anything that I've had that issue in. The issues that I've had with them comes more from the cam position sensors and the actual timing chain guides in different V8 motors. And
okay.
So again, not a lot of experience with it firsthand, but you know, if you're not having that trouble out of the 383 you got, you know, that's what I would stick with. What kind of car did you put that engine in?
I put it in a 78 Malibu with a 400 turbo 400 transmission that was rebuilt out of a tow truck.
Gotcha.
Wow.
And I'm running a 456 in the rear, which, as you're probably aware, will definitely scream for the first, 500 or 600 yards, and you want to shut it down before you hit $8,000.
Or before you pass a gas station.
Absolutely.
That being said, I was just, kind of curious. I've not had any problems at all in regards to this, but and I had a goofy little stumble between 1,800 to 2,300 RPMs. And my car guru dude said, "Oh, that's a cam overlap. You're not going to find a problem, or you're not going to be able to fix that problem. Just keep yourself out of that RPM range." And then my buddy, the Pontiac guru, looked at my car and said, "Here, let me mess around with the distributor and the weight set in the distributor and spring set, and let me adjust your power valve," and all that went away.
That's where I was going to say to start, was in your distributor. And if that didn't take it away, would be in your air fuel mixture. But that's getting into some fine tuning at those.
Yeah, that's some stuff we don't know about.
RPMs.
I'm just sitting here going, I don't know.
What did he say?
What's that word? What?
Well, Brian, it's always good to have you, brother. We appreciate your call this morning.
Hey, thanks, Rick. And you got an outstanding guest this morning. And
well, I thought you might enjoy him this morning.
Thank you, sir.
And no problem at all. But make sure that your guest knows that Stan's a roundy round guy.
We'll make sure he knows, brother.
Thanks again, Uncle Rick, sir. I really appreciate it. And the CTSV, it was my car that we were talking about. And we were very, very impressed. It kind of scares us a little bit once we monkeyed with the pulley and went with a 2.5. And I can literally be on the freeway at 80 miles an hour and take the traction control off and stand on it, and the car will go sideways.
That's crazy. Crazy.
It is. And my wife looked at me, and I kind of looked green in the face, and I smiled at her, and I said, "Oh, this does this all the time." That was my endorsement.
All right, brother. Have a good day. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Big Daddy.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
See you later. So Brian's been listening to our show for a long time, and he lives out in Lacey, California. He just retired.
Lacey, Washington, excuse me. And
he just retired, and he had a security business where he used canines. And good guy.
Yeah.
And so he's retired, and so his hobby is he's got the couple hot rods, and
Well, you don't say.
yeah yeah I think I want to say that motor's like $25,000 in that car. I mean, it's custom built thing. I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that's stalking stuff. I don't know. Steampunk Johnny's in there, our buddy in Bakersfield, California.
On the streets of Bakersfield.
That's right. Make some of the best coffee you ever had in your life.
Oh my God.
He's got one that'll make you stand up and make me run to work. And I ain't running in a long time.
I want to see that.
Yeah, that'd be worth the video, wouldn't it?
It'd be worth the price of
It'd be
admission.
$100,000 videos.
I can sell tickets along the route.
Yeah. You better just see it once and collect the sweat, because it's worth money too. That stuff's valuable.
Oh, shoot.
It's never been seen before. Probably cure cancer. I don't know.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
Oh, Lord, we're headed down the wrong way.
Oh, my gosh.
So, it's funny how that we maintain our cars, but we don't maintain our houses. We think when you put something in a house, a dishwasher, a water heater, or whatever it is, that it's supposed to just last forever.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something, it ain't your mama's Maytag no more.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Nope.
So, but, those of us who are not diligent about car maintenance, Taylor, you really ought to be, because you're costing yourself money, ain't you?
You need to be. And what you just said about it's not your mama's Maytag. In home appliances, I prefer the older stuff, the analog.
Absolutely.
Me trying to operate one of these new washing machines,
right,
is like me trying to fly a space shuttle, trying to enter the weight and the sensor and all. I like it where I can turn the dial and I'm there, and it's kind of going
turn
to
the dial and push it in.
That's it.
And then we got water flowing and close the washing.
That's it.
The later and later model as these cars get, I'm sure you just cannot go out in your driveway and work on them anymore, and you got to get them in. But yes, maintaining them is huge. And we try to go by that Carfax, and it gives you service history, but it's got to be somewhere that enters it in there and enters the data. So, for instance, I've got a 2011 Toyota Sienna van right now for sale. It's got 230,000
That's a good vehicle.
Well, and I tell everybody, try to buy Toyota, but you open up the Carfax and there's a 2-owner with 36 detailed service records from the Toyota dealer, and with 230,000 miles on it.
It's just getting started.
It runs like it's brand new again versus a 130,000 mile van in the same year that has had the oil change twice.
Right.
Obviously the better the maintenance, the longer the thing's going to last, the better it's going to do for you.
Are you a full synthetic guy?
It depends on where you're at on miles and what the vehicle. If I'm in say something that's up to about a 99, I try to stay conventional. They tell you if it's gone full synthetic one time, you've got to stay full synthetic. I don't know if that's just a way to get them to get you to buy the more expensive synthetic, or if that matters. But in the newer stuff, yes, and in the higher mile stuff, try to stay full synth.
When I was talking with the gentleman yesterday that I purchased the truck from, I said, because my granddad, I felt like I was talking with my grandfather, and that's why we enjoyed it so much. And I probably stayed up longer than I should have, but I was just enjoying hearing him talk.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And he said, "Now I'll tell you a story too about that truck." I said, "I'm listening." and he told me, but I asked him, I said, what do you run? And he said, "I use conventional oil." He said, that's all it's ever been in it, 1040. And he said, that's what I use. My granddad was a Haviland man, and that was the only oil to him that was ever been made on this earth. And if you tried to bring something else, he'd just look at you like, take that back to where you got it. That's not Haviland. And that was it, and then you got your Quaker State people, and then you got your Mobil One people, and then you get your Pennzoil people. You got different things. But my granddad was the kind that he used one thing and he used that consistently, and he didn't change up. And that's why I asked the gentleman what he used, because obviously what he's been using is working pretty doggone good.
Yeah.
So I ought to stick to it. Does that cause you a problem when you make that change?
It shouldn't cause a problem. One thing I would recommend doing is, if you go to do your oil change, use conventional oil, and say it's a 6-quart change, is do 5 quarts of your conventional 10W40 and then put a quart of either that Marvel Mystery Oil or the Engine Restore in there with it. And that will, you can tell the difference in the way it runs, it drives, it's going to seat your valves up, lubricate your piston walls.
Right.
And one thing you do want to do is, if you do that on your next oil change, is continue to do that. Don't go back to just a 6-quart conventional.
Gotcha.
Keep putting that quarter Restore in there.
Right.
And that is going to give you a lot longer life in it.
A friend of my dad's had that same philosophy, and I'd forgotten it until you mentioned it this morning. Anything that revitalizes something, we've been talking a lot. Brian was the one who brought it to my attention about out in California, in Washington, and then John in California, Steampunk Johnny, that now we have these drones, insurance companies, and I didn't realize they were doing it here, but they are. But it started out west. So what they do now is they fly a drone over your house, and that drone takes pictures of your roof, and then you get a letter in the mail that says, and if it flies over some people's house, there's a loud bang, and the little drone falls to the ground, and that's the end of that.
That's right.
Especially Kodak.
Don't occupy my airspace. No.
Exactly. But you get a letter in the mail that says you need a new roof. Now, they hadn't had to send nobody out there except for the drone guy. They ain't nobody climbing up there, and that's their position. That's what they're doing. And so these companies that do a revitalization, Roof Savers and Roof whatever Menders, or there's 2 different companies out there. I forget which ones. There's Roof Savers, and then the other one is Roof Max.
Max, that's them. Yeah.
And so each one of them has a proprietary blend that they think, and basically what they're doing is they're adding Marvel Mystery Oil back to the roof to recondition and to take what the sun's taken away from it. And the insurance companies are accepting that. So it can give you another 5 years to 15 years, depending on the condition you catch it in.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it's beyond that, and they can't do nothing for it.
But
But
that's when they go up there and they coat it.
they coat it. Yeah. If you've seen it, it's a white looking coating.
Yeah.
Roof Max uses an oil based. It's a natural oil. I forget what it is, and then there's proponents that say that's good. There's proponents that say that bad. Roof Savers uses a different blend. That kinds of things. And I haven't done enough research on either one of them. Other than talking to the company owners to find out. And it's it's an opinion. The rule of thumb was you never put nothing on your roof ever.
Yeah.
In old school, but things have changed.
Things have changed.
I mean, if it can give you another 5 years, that's another 5 years. Because if you bought a roof lately,
sure,
you better get deep in that billfold.
That's right. Or you're going to take a loan.
Or you're going to take a loan, which is what most of us have to do. So same thing. I didn't realize that putting that in there was in your regular oil change, but now that you've said it to me, Taylor, it makes sense.
In the age of your vehicle, and going back to talking about miles, I'll tell you where I like to be on miles is for the miles on the odometer to be consistent with the age of the car.
Okay.
So, if and this not necessarily going back 30 years on a 96, 97 pickup like that, but if I'm looking at something 20 years old, and this is me, I would rather have 200,000 than I would have 100,000,
right?
Because it's set. But if you've got one like that, 10 years old or 20 years old, 100,000, it's beneficial to put that restore in there, because where those valves have set and not been lubricated,
right,
and your seats dry out, at least that's going to expand them up and,
right,
and get you, a little bit
well
better.
And I thought about that, after you and I talked, and my truck's got 142,000 on it, and it's 97 or 99. Look, I can't remember. I just, it's what I was looking for. But he used that truck daily. But it was used on the farm.
On the farm, yeah.
So he was hauling a fifth wheel trailer from point A to point B and moving cows from point A to point B and down to the co-op and back. And so he wasn't driving many miles, but it was being driven every day, as opposed, what I'm saying? So that's the reason it has a few miles on it. But there again, I'm in total agreement with what Taylor says. If it's just been sitting, I saw a truck on there I was looking at, and was running good when we put it up 6 months ago. I'm like,
no,
you've got to drive them. And I'll tell you another one. You get a lot of people 4-wheel drive vehicles that may use the 4-wheel drive once a year. I would recommend, if you've got a 4-wheel drive, to once a month pull it over in the yard or the gravel, put that thing in 4 high, 4 low, back it up, let those gears lubricate.
Let them lubricate.
Because you're going to go 2-3 years without using it. It snows, you go to click your 4-wheel drive and snap, it's gone, because it's sat there dry for 3 years.
Right.
And driving them, another thing I recommend doing is every once in a while, hammer that gas, especially with this ethanol fuel. Just absolutely dig into the throttle and let that thing plane out and dump all that carbon off your plugs and
blow the dust out.
That's it. Blow the dust out. That's it.
They're meant to be driven. You've got to drive stuff. And that's why these ones with 250, 300,000 miles on them are still running, because they've been driven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So that's important. Do you have, and you may want to say, you may not want to say, what's your list of things that, and not specific to brand or those kinds of things, because everybody's got their own opinion, but
yeah,
when you're looking at a vehicle, when you're going through the auction and you're looking at a vehicle, what's something that when you see, you say no? What's those things that you're looking for that, or I guess every vehicle's different. It depends on what's what,
how it runs, if your transmission shifts, just kind of the basics anybody could look for. One of the things that does not turn me away and turns a lot of people away is just a check engine light. This day and age, you have got to feel the car malfunctioning, but to know something's wrong. That check engine light will come on for sensors. And, we're lucky enough here, we don't have emissions standards or testings. And that's what scares a lot of people, because they go in to get pass their inspection, that check engine light's on, they don't pass. And you either pay a fine and roll on, or you come back without the check engine light on.
Right.
But you can take and spend thousands of dollars on O2 sensors, speed wheel sensors to get that light to go out. 1,000 miles later, they're going to gum right back up and the light's going to pop right back on. So, it's not necessarily what I look for that's going to turn me away. It's what turns a lot of others away that
Right.
I'm going to buy the car.
So the check engine light can be a bunch of different things, can it? It can be, and it doesn't have to be something major.
No, well, and that's what I'm saying. That light can be on and can stay on. And it could be, again, just an O2 sensor causing that light to trip and stay on, which does not affect anything about the way your car runs. You spend $1,000 to replace that sensor, light goes out, you're happy. Like I said, 1,000 miles, a month later down the road, they gum right back up with the ethanol fuel.
And you're right back where you
Your
started.
light's right back on. There's just, unless I'm not saying don't scan it and see what it is
Right.
going on, but again, this day and age and this later model stuff, that light's going to kick for just the most minor thing.
It's just that sensitive.
And unless you feel the car misfiring, stuttering on you, actually physically doing something, to me, it's not worth getting into that check engine light and just
Right.
trying to do the repair to get that thing to go off.
Gotcha.
My check engine light came on because my gas cap was loose.
There you go.
Yeah, I
Yep.
forgot about that. Yeah,
My gas cap was loose. And you just had to tighten it back down and just let it cycle a couple of times off and on, and light went away.
Went away. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the I get the technology thing, and it is something that on one side of it, I say, well, that's good, but sometimes technology is not good.
No.
They could have left me at Windows XP. I said tickled death. Windows XP could use it.
Oh,
Knew where I was going.
absolutely.
It was
Oh,
a great program.
yeah.
But now we got Windows 14, 15, 16,
Whatever
whatever
it
it is. And I don't understand it.
Going to that technology, like I was saying earlier about the old Maytag washer, you turn your dial, you set it, you're good. On these newer cars where everything is touch screen, to me, it's almost a safety hazard trying to get to your volume or your fan speed, while you're driving. And I like to be able to reach down, turn it on, my fans up or my volume's up.
Right.
And whereas on all this touchscreen stuff, you're sitting here fumbling, trying to get to it, get it up and
Right.
down. I prefer the old, and like you buying that truck, look what it costs to go out and buy a new one of those.
Yeah.
$100,000.
Yeah. Daddy ain't got that.
No.
I'd have to live in it.
They're getting more and more coveted to find one in that kind of condition that's going to run and drive for you. You can spend $3,000, $3,500
Right.
on and have a 4-wheel drive truck.
Right. And it's got things that I needed. It's got a towing hitch that's made, bolted to the frame and all that stuff. I got to have that. But it's
Yeah.
also got a hidden fifth wheel hitch in it.
Nice.
So instead of just having a ball in the middle that sticks up all the time when you're trying to haul plywood or sheetrock or anything else, this one, it folds down and it makes a flat surface. I mean, that ain't cheap.
No.
I don't know what a hitch like that costs, but it ain't cheap.
Be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 because
Yeah.
they've got to take the bed off, bolt it to the frame, cut your bed, all that good stuff.
I didn't even think about that. See?
Good night.
So, I'm ahead.
Yeah, you are.
And it does what I need to do. Now, is it, does it, it's farm truck.
Yeah.
That's all right. I like farm trucks. I grew up on a farm.
Right.
And so that's the thing, but you start adding up things. Yeah, I got to put some mirrors on it, and the dash is cracked like every Dodge that's ever been built.
No.
But they make a little cover that just goes right over top of that. And you don't see a thing. You just put your carpet up there, hold your phone up there. It's
They make you a nice
cosmetic.
shag carpet.
Shag.
In the 70s,
I know that's right.
Break up a rabbit.
I guarantee you. Got to have a carpet rake. Remember carpet rakes?
Carpet rakes, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Back in the day, there's young people out there going, a carpet rake.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. When in the 70s, baby, when you had
Yes,
that late 60s,
sir.
early 70s, you didn't rake that carpet. You had
No.
a mat down. Looked
That's
like
it.
the old dirty dog.
That's it.
I'll take you back to your childhood.
Oh
Skip.
my gosh, flashbacks. Oh my gosh.
My mama in there, wrecking the carpet. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Well, you got to wreck the carpet. They're just mad up together on you. It looks bad.
You doing gardening in the living room?
We
What are
got,
you
we got
doing?
people coming over,
Yeah, we got that's right.
I finally told my dad, I shamed him enough. I said, well, when are you going to get rid of this carpet?
Oh my god.
This is terrible.
Please.
It's terrible.
Gosh.
I wouldn't put it in a doghouse.
No.
Gosh. And I finally shamed him into it enough where he decided that. All right, we got a message on the Miracle Method message line.
Hey.
Let's see. Says, and this is one of our regular people on the message line, Miss Kim. Oh, hey, Miss Kim. Thanks for listening to us. I know the show's a little different today. But I hope it's helping folks because it's helping me.
Yeah.
And I hope it's helping y'all. So great question. She said, when should you consider to trade? At what point, if you're thinking about, is there a point where if you're thinking about something different, when's a good time to trade?
Well, you got two ways to look at it. One is if you know there's something mechanically coming up that you don't want to deal with.
Right.
I'm sure you've heard the saying, sell your truck while it's still running.
Right.
So if you wanting to trade and you think it might be gaining some age and might have an issue coming up, again, sell your truck while it's still running. The other way to look at it is going back to the NADA and the value is where are you on what the car's worth now versus what it's going to be worth if you trade a year from now.
Right.
And, again, so many people are upside down and buried in negative equity. One of the things I've done in this business for the past 10 years is get people out of negative equity because we've always sold stuff $5,000, $10,000 back of the book.
Right.
So if they're in a trade that they're $10,000 upside down in, you may not get exactly what you want, but you've got to buy one that is far enough back a book on the price to get you out of the negative equity.
Gotcha.
Now, you may not be back of book, but at least you'll be at it. You won't have to carry gap insurance to cover what your insurance is not going to cover if you wreck. But that's where I would be at on a trade is, again, either if you're worried about it breaking soon, sell it while it's still running. If you're worried about the book falling in it and you want to stay right to the insurance and to the note,
right,
then that'd be a time to trade.
Makes good sense.
Yeah, sure does.
Makes good sense. And that's the thing. And the other thing is people are like, well, if I know something's wrong with it, I don't want to, but
disclose it.
Disclose
it may make it a little bit tougher to sell or take a little longer, but you'll find somebody that either knows how to work on it or they're getting it cheap enough. That's one of the things you can look at in buying a used car. Say your budget's $5,000.
Right.
Don't go after a $5,000 car. Go after a $4,000 car. Keep $1,000 in case right out of the gate you've got to do a $500,000 repair.
Right.
And then number one, that puts you've got the money to cover it.
$500 or $1,000.
Yeah, not $500,000.
Yeah.
$500 to $1,000.
And then at the same time, what you've got. If you buy one, week later the transmission goes, you've got that money to fix it, then hey, I've got a new transmission under warranty and I'm not going to have to worry about this breaking.
Right. And as a dealer, as we think about that, it's just like when I first got into construction, after I was in it for a few years, my wife and I decided that we wanted to have rental property. And we had a lot of rental property at one time. But when I went to buy a house, when I walked into that house and when she walked into that house, I see things that I know. I'm looking for things that I know, just like when Taylor is looking at a car, he's anticipating that, we need to look for this, we need to look for that. But because that's what we do for a living, he does cars, I did houses. I knew that going into it. So it wasn't that, and you have to have disclosure when you buy a house, but sometimes people didn't even know. And a lot of times I was buying, foreclosed houses. So there is no disclosure. It's as is.
Oh yeah.
Well, that going in, but for me to fix it as opposed to somebody who's not in that business, my cost is a lot less.
Oh yeah,
because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Same I would imagine is when you're looking at cars and this has got this or that, or the transmission's not shifting exactly right, but the car's good. Other than that, you know what it takes to fix that.
Well, and you've got a specific example in a lot of these Hondas, later model Hondas. When they're rolling across the auction block, there is a tensioner pulley that will knock like it sounds like an internal rod knock in the motor.
Wow.
Everybody's going to step away from it. All it is the bearings in that tensioner pulley making that noise.
No joke.
So, you can buy it for next to nothing. There's $100 fix.
Bam.
And the thing runs like a sewing machine afterwards. There's specific things you can look for to get in them right.
That's just plain experience right there.
That's what that is.
That's just plain experience. Hey, we got to take a time out to hear from some of those folks that bring you the Rick's House program. Hope you're enjoying it this morning. I'm learning bunches.
Yeah.
See Dr. Craig Henney in there with us this morning. Brother Steve Fowl, Dr. Brett P. Carter, dear friend of ours. Good to see you, brothers. Now retired.
Yeah.
I hear. How much golf are you playing? Dr. Craig Henney from Homburg Chiropractic fixed me about 20 years ago and put me in the upright position, and when nothing else would do it. So I promise you, if you've not considered chiropractic health, call Doc. Man knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's ugly, but no. And he just said he said, "I'm ugly, you ugly." No, he's a handsome fella. But he'll take care of you, Homburg Chiropractic. So we're going to take a short time out. Steve Fowl, good to see you. Hope Miss Kathy's doing well. We will be right back with more conversation with my buddy Taylor, and we'll talk to you. 865-932-7449 or the Miracle Method message line, 865-255-3911. It's Rick's House.
This is Local News 4. And now for the weather.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, it looks like this summer will be one of the coolest on record.
Oh, really? Where?
At Dollywood Splash Country, the most trusted water park in the Smokies, where you can enjoy more than 20 slides, Tennessee's first water coaster, live music by the wave pool, and more. Just plan your trip at Dollywood.com.
Dollywood. Love every moment.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you, I know a little something about mobility issues. I know a little something about taking care of mom and dad and grandparents and things you do when you're supposed to. That's why I trust Chris and his team at Miracle Method. They've got a safety package. A safety package that converts that tub in your house. But the main thing is it's going to give them an easy step in. It's going to give them grab bars that are added right. It's going to give them the flexibility to have that independence and you the knowledge of knowing that you've taken care of mom and dad. Miracle Method. Find them online today. Miracle Method. 865-693-5522, where safety is a priority.
Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad one. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
Looking for the perfect storage solution? Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage is the area's premier self-storage facility. Located next to the Home Depot at the Allensville Square Center in Sevierville, we offer climate-controlled and non-climate-controlled units, plus indoor RV and boat storage. Enjoy top-notch amenities like 24-hour surveillance and 3 covered unloading zones. Need to unload a tractor-trailer or a truck? We have a loading dock too. Sign up today and get 1 month free plus a complimentary True Shine car wash. Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage, the perfect solution for your storage needs.
Fireworks! Gorilla fireworks! The gorilla says free fireworks just for stopping in. Free gorilla for the kids. A free $20 gift. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of Black Cat and M80 brand fireworks. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of mortars and artillery shells. 2 full floors of fireworks shopping fun. Gorilla Fireworks, next to Sexy Stuff on Highway 66, Sevierville.
Looking for a great deal on a new or used vehicle? Head to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport, Tennessee. Just a short drive from Sevierville on West Highway 2570. We've got over 100 pre-owned vehicles with a wide selection of makes and models, all at low prices. Plus, we're clearing out space for 2025 models. So now's the time to save big. Financing available for all credit types. Don't miss out. Come to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport today. Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, West Highway 2570 Newport. Your next ride is waiting.
Mountain Liquors is now open in Kodak, just off I-40 across from Buc-ee's. We're proud to be Sevier County's largest liquor store, offering local favorites, bulk, and local discounts, and the biggest selection of moonshine, beer, wine, spirits, and premium cigars. Join us for free tastings every Friday and Saturday. Order online for curbside pickup or get delivery through DoorDash and Instacart. Visit mountainliquors.com. Call 865-286-8660. Mountain Liquors, your new favorite stop in the Smokies.
Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House live on 105.5 The Mix right here in beautiful downtown Kodak. For those of you listening to us wherever you may be from, good morning to you. Usually we're talking home improvement each and every Saturday morning. This morning we're talking car improvements.
Car improvement, yeah.
Got my buddy Taylor in, and he knows cars. I know nothing about such things, but I am getting an education this morning, and he helped me, even though he didn't sell me the car. He helped me with something that I bought yesterday, and I appreciate that. And I said, man, I got to get you on the radio.
Yeah.
We got to talk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let folks know. And so if you've got questions, you can text us at the Miracle Method message line, 865-255-3911, 865-255-3911, or you can call us. We'll be nice.
Yeah.
865-932-7449. Now, I haven't reached out this morning and said, Happy Father's Day, as it's right around the corner here.
Yeah.
If you still got them, love them, talk to them.
Yep.
Papaws too. Don't forget Papaw now. We're going to talk about that. And I've got some handsome dads in here for those that say, listen, there's a very handsome Taylor.
I don't know about that.
Oh, he's got his computer up, turning it camera.
And the very, very handsome Soggy Dollar, my brother's skipster. And then you got this ugly mug to look at. But we are proud daddies.
Be at the Soggy Dollar today with this weather, be great.
I know, that's right. Soggy Dollar's his favorite place in the islands.
Yeah.
Where one can relax.
Yes.
Listen to the ocean.
Yes.
And have fun and enjoy.
Get a fresh mahi sandwich.
Oh, was swimming that morning.
Oh, it was. It was, and it was in my belly shortly thereafter.
Absolutely. Oh man, I love seafood. I lived on the coast for a long time, and my wife and I did, and across the street from the ocean. And man, we had some places down there that just, literally the fish were swimming that morning and in your belly at lunch. And man, if you've never eaten shrimp straight off the shrimp boat,
you're missing.
You are missing.
Man.
Let me tell you, it tastes completely different.
Gosh,
completely different.
When I was in West Central Florida, we had a great place that peel and eat shrimp, and the boats were just over to the right.
Exactly.
And dang,
I'm telling you, it tastes. I mean, nothing wrong with seafood that we get. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah,
great seafood places here, and it's great. But when it's been swimming, and then it goes from swimming to your pot, oh my, it's a whole different deal.
And
it's a whole different deal.
No smell. There's no smell.
No, it's like candy for a fat baby.
Oh my goodness, fat boys in the house. That's right.
That's right. And by the way, I ain't heard us waking up between you and Mama yet this morning.
I played it once.
You did.
But you were with him talking. So
I was yapping.
You were yapping, so you didn't hear it. I heard it. Don't you worry. I love that one.
Yeah, that's my favorite little intro thing that we have. That my buddy BC from out in San Francisco did. Well, he's on the radio in San Francisco, but he lives in Panama City, Florida. His studio's in his garage. I moved in next door, and I wasn't doing radio yet. I hadn't started doing radio yet, and so I was just. He came over and introduced himself, and we were talking. He's got that voice that I don't know if he smokes 18 packs of Camels a day without filters, but he's got that, man.
Hello, doll.
Oh man, he's got that radio voice, and it just comes out. Even when he's speaking, you just think, is that God talking? And just a great guy. The whole time he's drawing off that camel. But he said, well, what are you doing? I told him, I said, getting ready to start a little radio program, getting ready to do that. And he's like, man, I do radio. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, come here, I'll show you something. We walk over to these patio, in Florida, you have these patio homes. They're built on a slab, and houses, they're about 1,300 feet, got a swimming pool in the back with the big screen thing on it. So
got the bird cage.
Bird cage
over your cement pond.
So the no-see-ums don't bite you. Those things are from the devil. You know what a no-see-um is? You've heard of no-see-ums, right?
Yeah, you no-see-um, yeah.
Yeah, you no-see-um.
You no-see-um. That's what they're called, a no-see-um, yeah.
But a no-see-um is a sand flea.
Yes.
And they don't actually fly, they glide.
Mm.
So the wind takes them to where they're going to go. And those things, and we used to have a picture that they sold in Florida, which it's a great big set of jaws teeth with a little bitty set of wings. Because they will bite you.
They'll bite you on your ankles all day long.
Man, they're terrible. But and so everybody, that's the way the houses were built. And they're all the same, it's just a patio community.
Sure.
And so everybody had a garage in the front doors, in front of the house, you had a 16-foot garage door. And so we walk over there, and he just reaches down and grabs that garage door and opens it up, and there's a whole radio studio in there.
My God.
Wall to wall, soundproofing, set up like we're set up with mics and the whole thing. And he said, well, I do the radio. I said, a little radio?
A little radio?
Brother. And he's like, well, we've been on in San Francisco for I don't know how many years at that time. He said, my partner's in San Francisco that I do radio with. And he said, I live here. Me and my wife live in here. And so he said, I walk out of the kitchen into the garage studio and do the morning show. And nobody ever knew the difference. Had no idea he was not sitting in the studio in San Francisco.
Amazing.
And he's in Panama City Beach, Florida.
I love it.
Love it. So that's pretty cool. So that's the kind of stuff that you don't realize is happening. That's the good thing about technology.
Yes.
Now that it's got everything's went to the internet.
Yeah.
as my buddy used to say, the interweb.
The interweb.
And that's why, this whole, what do you think about, boy, I'm going to open it up right here. The creative genes are flowing in my pea brain. What's your feeling on, what is it called? Autonomous driving, not cars that drive themselves. Yeah.
I can see the look on his face.
He said he didn't go there. He didn't go there.
He just wrote a book with the look on his face.
I know some people that love it, that say they cannot live without it now, which, it's not supposed to be fully autonomous. You're supposed to still be alert and kind of watch what's going on. But you've seen, I'm sure, videos of people in their Tesla just completely asleep,
sound asleep,
and the thing running down the road. It scares me to death. I don't think we're there yet. Absolutely scares me to death, but I'm not going to say I wouldn't give it a try. From the ones I've spoken to that have a 2-hour commute in the morning with 5 kids at the house, and they can get some things done on the way and stay alert. We'll have to see where it goes. From the whole AI, everything sort of scares me.
AI is scary.
Yeah.
All the deep fakes. I've got a good friend who's one of our sponsors in Panama City, and he's been with us a long time, but you don't hear about him here because he's in Panama City. He's an electrician and just does a phenomenal job, does generators and all that stuff, just stays covered up, spends as much time in Nashville as he does in Panama City because he's involved in the music industry. But there was a deep fake showed up at him on Facebook, and dude, it is so real. They can make you say anything.
Oh yeah,
do anything, and that is dangerous to me. That is just way over the line. And there's people that think about those kinds of things. Don't believe everything you see, folks, or hear, especially.
And we had that happen to somebody here at the radio station.
Really,
and they contacted Facebook and everybody and said, "This is not me. This needs to be taken down. This is not me. This needs to be stopped." And their Facebook's like, "No, it's you. This is you. This is no, it's not." So it's been a mess.
Oh man, I didn't realize that. I hadn't heard that yet. So, it's one of those kinds of things. I have, I'm not a proponent of fully electric vehicles. I'm just not, because to me, it doesn't make sense. Now, I love my hybrid. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to my billfold.
Yes, it does.
As Taylor was telling me this morning, we're starting to have what we think is one of the cells in the battery starting to get weak or give us some issues.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty of that thing is that he knows the folks that repair that.
Yes.
But you don't have to replace the whole
thing.
$15,000 battery. You can fix one cell.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yes.
Having to, basically when the car, if it has a battery issue, which a lot of them will.
No, yeah, they will.
You might as well throw the car away because it's worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right about that?
I'll tell you, a big part of the cost on fixing the cells in those Prius is those cells have to be shipped under hazmat. And so it costs a lot more to ship them. A gentleman I sell quite a few Priuses to that intentionally buys them down so that he can fix them. He lives in a town in Georgia where they produce those cells, and he can just go over there and pick them up and not have to pay for the hazmat shipping.
Look at that.
Wow.
And talking about hybrid and the full EV, they're going more and more towards hybrid right now. So for instance, if you go to the Honda store, you're going to buy a brand new Honda CRV. If you want to get it in the sport trim level, the only way you can buy it is in a hybrid.
No joke.
Now you can still get a gas motor non-hybrid CRV, but it's in their base. If you want a sunroof and alloys and leather and go up to a sport, you have got to buy a hybrid. So I see within the next 10 years, everything's going to be hybrid. And then 10 years beyond that, it's pretty much just going to be EV. And I'm sure they've got the technology right now to go 700 miles on a charge, but it's going to be like computers or phones. They're going to slowly put that
bring it along.
So, you go out and you buy the latest, newest one now, you're going to turn around and see a commercial that there's one that does double what you just paid for.
Now, there was talk of a hydrogen car, a hydrogen engine at one time. Has that ever come to be?
Here's the funny thing about that is when they started looking at doing hydrogen years ago, people were scared of the hydrogen cell blowing up. They're sitting on this big fuel cell and they're going to have this big explosion. Well, gasoline's going to do the same thing too. So I don't know much about the hydrogen stuff or if they're looking back into that, but I know it was a safety concern. Of course, I'm sure you've seen on the full EVs and even just these lithium batteries, they're known to spontaneously just explode.
Yeah, spontaneous combustion. Yeah.
You've had like a Randall Cobb, they installed a lithium charger for his Tesla in his house in Nashville, and 2 days later, the whole place burned to the ground.
Wow.
And so people are pressure washing them in the car washes, getting them wet, they're blowing up.
Wow.
So, you know, the EV is almost as scary as the gasoline or as the hydrogen.
Wow. Yeah, the hybrid. I mean, Toyota too is doing the same thing with the hybrids. Almost everything on a Toyota lot now is a hybrid.
To get the higher trim levels,
Yeah.
you know, you look at their vans and things to get a limited or a platinum, you've got to go hybrid. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Well, I like I said, I'm a fan of hybrids.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got a friend who's all about sustainable living and you know, he's completely off the grid and he's using wind and solar and you know, he does hydroponics, which I think is an awesome thing. You know, where you're growing your vegetables in a substrate that's floating in a pond that either has freshwater shrimp or tilapia in it. And it's a continuous cycle. The fish are providing nutriment to the plants and vice versa. And, you know, it's just, you know, if he wants fresh fish, he just walks out in the garage and it's got a big swimming pool out there, above ground pool in the garage.
Nice.
He goes out there and, you know, picks the what he needs to go in it, the peppers or, you know, onions or whatever he's got. And then his grandson catches a couple fish and has a good time doing that. And then there's dinner. So I dig that. But he waited. I mean, when EV vehicles, when Tesla first came out, he got on the list, paid for this car up front, and then waited 2 years to get it.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, but it'll put on a show. I mean, it's the craziest thing. When I saw it the first time, he said, "Watch this," and he pushes a button and it's opening the doors and the lights are blinking to a Christmas song. And I'm like, man, that's insanity.
Yeah.
He said, "Come on, let's ride in it." Now, if you've never ridden in one, if you 0 to 60, hang on, baby.
Well, here's their other safety concern on these full EVs is the weight of the car.
Yes.
So, you know, the size of his Highlander or a Toyota 4Runner, anybody that's listening, you know, just a mid-size or even a compact SUV, you go from weighing about 2,500 pounds up to about 6,500.
Wow.
And so when these things are getting in collision with the 2,500 pound conventional car, they're just ripping them to shreds.
Right. I also seen something about guardrails are not, they can't, they're not built to take that kind of impact.
Yep.
So there's a lot of safety issues with that as well.
And I'm not saying anything against them.
No, I'm not either. I'm just not, it's not my deal.
There's pros and cons to both of them. And I think, you know, it's just, I'm waiting on the technology to get a little bit more advanced before I go.
Yeah.
EV
Well, he
or
told me,
autonomous
he said, watch this. So we get in the car and, you know, 0 to 60 is just unbelievable. And there's no sound whatsoever. It's like something out of that movie that Schwarzenegger did where they're on Mars or whatever. And, you know, they're Total Recall or whatever it was. And, you know, it's like that, but then he's like, okay, and he does the autonomous thing, and we're on this crooked road, you know, and the car's talking to you. It's saying, approaching stop sign, you know, lights are on, you know, and I'll be honest, it made me extremely nervous, even though he was sitting there behind the wheel and was fully alert and awake. It just made me nervous. I just, you know.
Well, you know, have you seen they've got autonomous cabs now in the bigger cities?
Yeah, I've seen that.
You order your Uber, your Lyft, and the vehicle shows up with no driver in it. There was a video I saw the other day. This gentleman gets in the back seat and, you know, enters his destination. Well, the car just starts driving in circles in the parking lot.
Oh
It's
my
not going. It's
God.
not coming out. He's on the phone with 911 saying, help. We're just spinning around. And so I don't know how to get out of this thing. I don't know how to make it stop.
Whoa, Nelly.
Nelly.
Doc Henny tells us, he said he has seen big injuries from impacts with hybrid mini SUVs.
Wow.
You know, in
They
his
weigh
healthcare
6,000,
field.
7,000 pounds.
They're heavy, yeah.
Yeah. What would you do? You got caught in the car and there's no driver in there and that thing's just going around in a circle. What do you do? I mean, what do you do?
Lose your mind.
You know,
God.
it ain't going to run out of gas.
No.
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
my
Hey, it's time for me to tell you about my buddy Will at All Clear Plumbing.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I'm telling you what, him and Daniel, what a great job they do. Service is what they love. You know, they're not going to come out and take advantage of you, mama. You know, they're going to tell you straight up. They're going to fix it. They're going to do what they should do. They're going to show up when they're supposed to. They're going to call you if they're running late because they've run long on a call. You know, it's just good quality. You know, they're going to make a decent living as they should.
Well, absolutely.
But you're going to get what you pay for. And again, that's my buddy Will over at All Clear Plumbing, 865-443-7752. 865-443-7752. And I've never asked him about this, but his name's Will Farrell. What was his mom and daddy thinking?
Oh, no.
But yeah, Will's a great guy, man. He helped us with the problem we had, and he was just like, I have never done that. Let's come take a look at it. Fixed it in about 20 minutes.
Jeez.
And just knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Put a little common sense to it.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Isn't that something?
Boy, wow, there's a lost art.
Didn't have to look at a book either. He just said, well, I think if we do this and this and this, that'd solve your problem. I said, have at it.
Knock yourself out. Yeah.
And so
please do.
The black tank in my travel trailer had dropped because, and this is something that I want to share, and I know I've shared this multiple times, but it deserves to be told again. If your travel trailer, nothing should go in the tanks. Nothing. I don't care if it says it's a flushable wipe. There is no such thing. There is no such thing as a flushable baby wipe. Yeah, you can flush them.
Yeah, you can, but it's going to gum up the system.
It's going to gum up, and the more paper products and things that you put in that system, that's going to expand, and you're going to not get the maximum amount of fluids or solids that need to go in there, and it's going to make you empty your tank a lot more.
Yep.
And so just ask our friends at Top Septic. Ask Joshua and Heidi. They'll tell you. Don't put those things in there. If you've got an old drain field, use a trash can.
Yeah.
Help your septic system to work properly. And so he said, mine had some stuff in it that was put in it by someone that we didn't know was putting stuff in there. So, but they didn't know better. So needless to say, that's neither here nor there. Well, what happened was it got clogged. I had a macerator pump on that helps to move the sewage along. But it got clogged, and you put water in it to rinse it. Well, I got it too full, and the tank, they don't even strap them. They're just hanging on a little bitty flange. And so it dropped down because it probably weighed 500-600 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Well, so we got Heidi and Josh out there. They sent one of their guys, and he came out there and he emptied the tank, got it all done. And so the tank's just sticking down. And so Will got under there and he looked at it. And he said, well, there's nothing broke. He said, it's just fell. He said, I said, well, I got a floor jack in the building, and we can, jack it back up and then strap it like it should have been done in the first place. And I said, well, I'll get the floor jack. And by the time I got back, he'd got underneath there, put his feet up on the bottom of it and pushed it up into place. And Daniel already had it strapped up. And I'm like, well, we don't need a jack. Got one built in. It's got two legs. Strong young man. And that was that.
That's awesome.
Oh
my gosh.
So, if I'd have tried to get under there and do that, I'd still be under there hollering.
Yeah.
Skip. Skip.
Hey,
Help.
Help me. Help me.
So,
Oh my gosh.
But All Clear Plumbing, man, they do a great job. We like them. You'll like them too. 865-443-7752. They're asking me in the chat room about oil. Is it all the same? Do you have a preference? I know we talked a little bit about synthetic versus conventional, and that had to do with the miles or the age of the vehicle.
Right. I don't have a brand preference. I've never seen one outdo the other. And again, like we were talking about earlier, it's just a matter of if you're going to go full synthetic, they tell you to stay full synthetic if you move away from conventional. But no, as far as brand or anything goes,
as long as he's got that stamp on there on the can, you're good to go.
And there's no such thing as a $2 quart of oil anymore.
No, no.
Needed to stop in and get some to get down the road. Now for a quart, I don't think I've seen it less than about $7.99, $8.
Right. Well, they're doing that. They're doing that thing now. When I was a kid, I loved to take and I guess this was the kid in me. But you take the old oil can that's literally in a cardboard can with a metal lid and the metal bottom on it, and you take the oil spout and stick it through and put it in there, and you could actually put it in the car without spilling it all over the motor.
They're selling those again now. They've started.
Are they really?
For, I guess, just the nostalgia, like you said,
Right.
that feeling of putting the spout in the cardboard can.
Yeah.
So, if you're working on classic stuff or you've got a garage, you want that look and that aesthetic, you can now order oil in the old style can with
No
the spout
joke.
and do that. Yeah.
Stack it up beside your avocado green refrigerator. And your harvest gold stove.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And that stuff is not cheap.
No.
When you go retro colors like that,
Mhm.
people want it. Yeah. And
want it,
it's I guess they say everything that comes back around eventually.
Boy,
I'm just waiting on bell
Well,
bottoms.
it's how you can.
They're back. Oh, they're back already.
You can still buy the lead additive, for
Really?
old stuff that's going to run off the leaded gasoline.
Wow.
That's just neat stuff.
I remember my first car had regular gas. I used regular gas in my first car, 1969 Volkswagen Beetle.
Run forever.
It ran forever.
I learned in the 68.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drove that thing on the farm like a farm truck.
Yeah. I could chirp that thing in 3 gears.
I guarantee you.
There's one which you don't see manual cars very much anymore. You can get them
No.
in the sports cars and a few select ones, but I've had 16, 17-year-old kids come to the lot and say, "Hey, I want to look at this Volkswagen Jetta." Well, it's a manual. They go out there, they try to start it, they come back in, tell me the battery's dead. I step back out and push the clutch in and it fires right up. They didn't even realize it was a manual transmission car.
Yes. That's awesome.
That's awesome. I'm going to tell my age. So on my off day, my bride and I were watching Price is Right.
Hey.
We've turned into our grandparents. when the wheel come on,
Yeah.
as my mama called it,
Mm-hmm.
they wasn't nothing happened in the house when the wheel was on.
No, that was important. Everything stopped.
Everything stopped. She was watching Vanna. I think Papa was watching Vanna.
Oh, yeah. Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel
Yeah.
of Fortune.
Yeah.
And so when the wheel come on, or NASCAR,
Oh, yeah.
nothing happened. They wasn't nothing being cooked. They wasn't nothing being happening. They wasn't nobody talking. Unless you had a guess on the puzzle. And if you got it right, then hey.
Yeah.
Papa's like, hush. Well, children are to be seen, not heard.
Yes. That's right.
You ever heard that one?
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot.
Oh, my gosh.
So we're watching Price is Right the other morning, having our coffee, and just trying to see what the day would bring.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was when I turned it on, it was this young man had won the bid, initial bid, and then he won a car.
Wow. Yeah.
So he goes to the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's already won a car. So they show him the showcase, and the showcase that he was bidding on had a Camaro in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen this before, never seen it since. He said, "This kid's probably 20, he said, "Can I ask a question?" And, Drew Carey's like, "Sure." He said, "Is it automatic or a manual?"
Wow.
And Drew said, "I don't know. George, can you tell us?" "It's a 6-speed manual transmission." He said, "I'm going to pass. I don't know how to drive that." So the old man that was bidding, that was up there, was bidding on, he knew how to drive it.
He knew how to drive that.
He
Yeah.
knew how to drive it, but he ended up, the kid won.
Wow.
But he didn't. He passed on that whole thing on that brand new car, and because it was a manual transmission, 6-speed manual transmission.
Wow.
And I thought, well, you can't learn.
No, yeah.
You know, I mean, that just blows my mind.
They don't want to learn to drive a manual. The kids, the 16-year-olds that I've dealt with in, say, the past 5-6 years, they don't even care about getting their driver's license.
That's a truth.
You know, they can Uber, they can Lyft. They just, you know, when I was the morning I turned 16, I was
to the
first
DMV.
in line at the DMV.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
And they just don't seem to care anymore. They wait, you know, till they're 18, 19 to get licensed. And
well, it's just like my buddy. His daughter, she's 20 years old. And he said, look, you're going to college. It's a long way. You're going to get a driver's license or you ain't going.
Yeah.
Because I ain't toting you every morning.
That's right.
I got to work to pay for it. And he said, so you're going to have to get, and she finally did.
Wow.
But didn't care about it. She wanted to go somewhere. One of her friends picked her up, or she Ubered, like Taylor said. Or, you know, it's just, it's a different
mindset.
It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
But we grew up in an era where I wanted to drive anything I could, whether it was the Volkswagen or the tractor or the lawnmower or anything that had wheels on it that would move me around. I wanted to do that, you know. And then they made the mistake of showing me how to change gears.
Oh yeah.
And then that Volkswagen became a dune buggy.
Or I grew up north. We couldn't wait for winter to get the snowmobiles out. So.
Oh wow. Yeah, they ain't no skipping work in the north.
No.
The only day you ain't work is if it's Christmas.
Yeah. Well, that's like around here when it snows, everything comes to a halt. Up there, no, the school buses followed the truck that was plowing and salting and cindering and sanding the road.
Right.
The bus had chains on it and it was right behind him.
Right.
No.
So it wasn't no snow days.
No snow day. I'm sure that's changed now because of the safety regulations, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, but in Florida, we had hurricane days.
So this is the Father's Day edition of the program today.
Yes.
And joining me, my buddy Taylor. Tell us again how they find you, Taylor, and if they're looking for that vehicle. And you can hunt for vehicles for folks.
We're located at 7613 Maynardville Pike. It's Iron Horse Auto. And no matter what you're looking for, if you'll just come out and give me a shot, whether you buy from me or not, I'm going to try to point you in the right direction.
And I can attest to that because I didn't know him before yesterday.
Because, you know, one of the things I hate seeing is just people going out and getting burned on stuff because they're chomping at the bit. They want it now. That sense of urgency really hinders a lot of people down the road. You know, I can just say, if you are buying, you're shopping, take your time, do your research, you know, come out and give me a shot. Right. And whether we sell you one, great. But if I can point you in the right direction, you know, a lot of people will just sign up for financing without even looking at an interest rate. And then they're locked in for 48 to 72 months at 25%. Yeah. That's how they get buried to the book.
Right.
So, you know, just try to watch the value of the vehicle, know your credit score, just kind of be prepared going in. Then, because we talked about this last night, the used car salesmen have got such a bad reputation.
They do.
And that's what we try to avoid. You're going to come in, they see you as a mark, they're going to sell you a car. They don't care what it is, as long as they can sell. I'm going to try to get you in something that you like, that you're going to be good with on a payment, or just the car itself. So, you know, come out and give us a shot, and we'll do the best we can for you.
And that's why I wanted to have him on, because, you know, he helped me, even though, you know, he had nothing to do with that deal except saying, hey, you know, what do you think? I told him, you know, I just knew I could ask him. And, he told me, this is my opinion. Awesome. And it's worked out great.
Well, and I'll tell you, you know, a lot of them say, if you had made it to look at that truck, and we kind of had this same scenario, you're going to have any salesman say, well, look, you need to buy it now because it's not going to be here.
Oh,
yeah. You know? And a lot of times when I'm telling you that's the truth. And of course, you called a couple hours later and said, hey, I'm going to come check. Well, man, I just sold it.
He told me, so I just sold it.
Wow.
I said, and I said, well, it wasn't meant for me to have it.
That's right.
It was meant for those people that bought it to have it. And so then that opened the door. And then he told me, when we talked about the transmission issues, that, he told me, what to look for. And then it did exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And come to find out, when I sat on the porch and talked a little bit, he told me exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And had he not tightened that bolt a little bit too tight, it wouldn't have an issue at all.
That's exactly right.
But we ain't gonna worry about it unless it, gets to where we have to.
Yeah.
We're just gonna make sure there's fluid in it.
Exactly right.
You
can check the dipstick to do that.
Absolutely.
That's the thing in the engine that you pull out.
Yeah, I thought you was talking about me.
Awesome.
Well, let's take us a time out and let you hear from those folks that bring you the program. We come back. If you've got a question, we got a special show today for Father's Day. Got my buddy Taylor in, who is a car professional. That's what he does for a living. And if you got a question, you're thinking about a car, you think now's the time to talk to somebody who really knows is going to tell you straight.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Exactly how it is. And that's a hard thing to find. As we were talking, like you said last night and today, about the reputation. Who do you trust?
Yeah.
Same thing goes through with your plumber or your heat and air guy or your electrician. All those things that we have. That's what we do.
Yes.
I find these folks, and when I believe in them, I have them on.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't hear me talking about them, then hey,
yeah,
I'm sure there's plenty out there that I don't know yet, but I'd like to know them.
Sure.
And the other thing, and I'm going to say this before we go to the timeout. And I say this at every show, but if you utilize one of the people on our radio station, whether it's on Rick's House or the car show, or not the car show, the real estate show, the attorneys, anybody, or you hear a sponsor on this program or on the radio period, and you purchase something from whatever they're selling, be sure and let them know where you heard it.
Yeah.
That's how Skip and I get to eat.
That's right. That's right.
It's important. And it's important for that business because that business then knows where they're spending their advertising dollars is being effective.
That's correct.
So many times we send business and people, they never know because people don't tell them when they heard about it. And, it really helps when you let folks know, hey, I heard Rick talking about you, or I heard Skip talking about you, or I heard Taylor on there, and that's why I'm an Iron Horse. All those things are important. So, man, we'd appreciate it if you do that. We're going to take a time out. When we come back, we're going to, where's the time going? We're going to finish it up here on Rick's House Saturday mornings, Mix 105.5.
This is Local News 4. And now for the weather.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, it looks like this summer will be one of the coolest on record.
Oh, really? Where?
At Dollywood Splash Country, the most trusted water park in the Smokies, where you can enjoy more than 20 slides, Tennessee's first water coaster, live music by the wave pool, and more. Just plan your trip at Dollywood.com.
Dollywood, love every moment.
What happens when you take 20 years of experience hanging metal on NASCARs and you put that into another business? The business I'm talking about, Miracle Method Resurfacing in Knoxville. My buddy Chris Stacy and his team are there for the detail, there for as good as a job can get. They understand working with tight tolerances and working with a finish that has to be almost perfect. If you're thinking about redoing your countertop, maybe you're thinking about redoing that avocado green bathtub, or maybe you're thinking about that epoxy floor for your hot rod in your garage. Think nowhere else. Miracle Method of Knoxville is the place that can help your dreams come true about that new tile surface or any other finish in your home. Call them today, 865-693-5522. 865-693-5522. Tell them Rick's House sent you.
Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561.
Fireworks! Gorilla fireworks! The gorilla says free fireworks just for stopping in. Free gorilla for the kids. A free $20 gift. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of Black Cat and M80 brand fireworks. Gorilla fireworks! The largest selection of mortars and artillery shells. 2 full floors of fireworks shopping fun. Gorilla Fireworks, next to Sexy Stuff on Highway 66, Sevierville.
Keep your vehicles clean, shined, and ready for the road with the help of Napa Auto Parts on the Parkway in Sevierville. Get Toolbox Blue Shop towels starting at $2.79 each. Save 20% on Crocodile Cloth cleaning wipes starting at $19.29 each. Save up to 25% on Tubba Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes starting at $5.99. Plus, big savings on a wide variety of Milwaukee tools and accessories at Napa Auto Parts on the Parkway in Sevierville.
Come shop at Foothills Furniture and get tax-free savings now. For the entire month of June, all in-stock purchases will be 100% tax-free. Pay no sales tax. Now starting June 1st. Get registered to win one of our giveaway items to get you ready for Independence Day. A smoker grill package, a fire pit package, and a cooler package. Come shop at Foothills Furniture on Newport Highway or online at foothillsfurniture.net and get some independence from paying sales tax.
The all new Mix 105.5 is looking for 2 great people to join our sales staff. If you are energetic and highly motivated to achieve all the goals you have, we want to talk to you today. Don't let your previous jobs hold you back from finding out how rewarding a position at Mix 105.5 can be. Base plus commission gets you started. Go to Mix1055.com, look for the Work With Us button. Again, that's Mix1055.com and work with us. East Tennessee Radio Group and Mix 105.5 are an equal opportunity employer. Start your new career today, Mix1055.com. Work with us. Do it now.
Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad one. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
WSEV-FM, Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge. Tennessee's new mix, 105.5.
Waking up between you and Mama every Saturday morning. Lord, it must be a big old bed. You're listening to Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House. A little bit different show today. We've talked a little home improvement, but we're talking all things automobiles today. My buddy Taylor, and you've got that special thing on your card.
Oh yes,
yeah. You're going to share that with us.
So the name's Taylor Steele, and I've always told people, make your next deal a steal.
How about that?
How about that?
So, like I said, just if you're looking, you can come find us there on Manorville Highway at Iron Horse Auto, and definitely just give us a shot, and we'll do the best we can for you.
Absolutely. Miss Ruby, good to see you this morning. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us on the program. We've kind of covered most of the bases. We've talked a little bit about, what to buy, when to buy, how to buy, all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And Taylor's gave some great information about being prepared to go in. It's just like when people ask me about their home improvement project. Well, how do I know I'm getting a good deal? Well, get you a good number 2 pencil and a notebook and write down your questions. What you want to know.
Yes.
Okay. So that when you talk to that person about doing that plumbing job or putting that roof on, and you talk to all 127 of them, then you're asking them all the same question. So when you look back, because when you talk to multiple people, which I'm not saying you shouldn't, but when you talk to multiple people, you'll get confused. I do.
Yeah.
About who said what.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's written down, what was included and everybody's what they're saying.
Yeah.
So, it gives you something to work with. It lets you compare an apple to an apple instead of an apple to an orange.
There you go.
And the same true with going in and being prepared, knowing your credit score, knowing, am I going to finance,
and that's
all those things.
When if you're going to finance, if you've got to make payments, avoid buy here, pay here at all costs. For some people, I understand it's the only way you're going to get done. But, talking about going in prepared with your financing is speak to your bank, know your credit score. Because if you go in and blindly sign an application at a lot of these places, they don't care about you. They're going to do a credit inquiry and pull your credit about anywhere from 5 to 30 times. And that's 3 points every single time.
Wow.
Whereas if you go to the lender first, whether you can qualify for primary and use TVA Y12 and get a prime rate, or your credit's not as good and you've got to go subprime and pay up in that interest, is just know that going in. That way, you go to your lender first, what you can buy, what you're going to have to put down, what your payment's going to be.
Right. Because when they stick it out there like that, that also is a huge red flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If
When you've got 20 inquiries in 24 hours, that's going to hurt you on the primary end for sure.
Right. Good advice.
Wow.
Good stuff to know.
Yeah.
Wow. What about buying like I did yesterday, buying from an individual? What's the process? You sign the title, do a bill sale.
That's basically as long as they sign off as the seller and you sign as the buyer at the time of purchase, then you're good.
Gotcha.
And Tennessee is really easy to get into the county clerk and get registered. Again, where we don't have inspection.
Right.
And admissions and that kind of thing. And this is sort of off topic, but the same deal. We're one of the only, I think it's us in Florida, but I may be wrong about Florida, but I know Tennessee for sure does not require a title for boat, any kind of watercraft or any kind of trailer.
Right.
And so you get into a little bit there if it's going out of state. So if you're buying a boat, a trailer, or four-wheeler, we do not require title for it, and it's going to be bill of sale only.
Okay.
But, on your vehicle, it's smart to go ahead, definitely have them sign as seller and you go ahead and sign as buyer, because if you get stopped with an open title that's not been signed off on by you as a buyer before you're able to go get your tag and get your registration.
As I am right now,
then
which I signed my title.
Right, where you're signed, you're good. And of course, it's the weekend. You can't get into the clerk till Monday. But
right.
If you do get caught with open title, that's a pretty big deal to the Department of Revenue.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and that leads to another question. When I was looking at, I would see, of course, you're on Marketplace, looking, that's the new Bargain Mart.
Yeah.
And you're on there looking, and then it'll say no title, but can provide bill of sale. What is that a problem?
So it depends on the scenario. You could have somebody trying to sell you something with a lien that they have just not paid for and it's up for repo, and you can get in trouble that way. Best way to do it is if they're selling without a title and it's bill of sale only, is to get the VIN number, call down to the county clerk, have them do a VIN search.
Gotcha.
Because it's very well they could have just lost the title. So say if you've got this truck out here, it's in your name, you've got a green Tennessee title at the house and you lose it, with it being in your name, you can walk right into the county clerk and they'll print you a duplicate on the spot for $7.
Just like a birth certificate or anything else, if
And
you've got the documentation.
If the seller that, you're talking about buying once bill of sale only, and you can ask them, hey, what happened to the title? And they say they just lost it. Well, then they've got the ability to go in there and get a duplicate printed also.
Right.
But if they
So
say
always better if you can get a title.
oh, for sure. I mean, you're not going to be able to legally get on the road on just a
Right.
bill of sale.
Right. And you know, and in some counties, this is interesting too. I don't know the answer to this, and Taylor, you probably do, but I was looking up because I need to. It's time to renew my tags. So if I've changed counties, and so if I'm gonna live in that county, I'm gonna have my tag in that county. I'm gonna let that revenue go to the county. That's kind of old school, I guess, but it's just kind of how I think. So in the county that I live in, the DMV goes to different courthouses in different cities on different days.
Oh, wow.
So the county I live in, it comes to the city I live in the first Tuesday of every month. So, you know, do you wait to the first Tuesday of the month, or do you? I won't do that. I'll just go to wherever they are, and they've got a schedule. They say, well, we're going to be here on this day, here on that day, here on this day, on that day. And I guess that's true in rural areas. I never knew that before. And I guess you can always go to the courthouse and get it done, I would imagine.
Well, what you can do, so, you know, when I sell one and I get somebody's tag for them and say they live in Blount County, but I'm doing business in Knox County, I'll go into the Knox County clerk, register their vehicle. They're still only paying the Blount County tax.
Okay.
The only difference is their tag is going to say Knox down at the bottom. The way you fix that is once you walk into either the day they're going to be scheduled in your county or into your county clerk, show them your tag number and your ID, and they'll give you a sticker
to put the proper
your
county on it.
Right. So,
see, I had no idea.
It doesn't make a lot of difference, but you know, I've heard people say, especially in the more rural area, if you're up here in Kodak with a Knox County tag, you're more apt to get stopped by the police.
Well, I've heard that too.
Well, and you're going to have a problem taking your garbage to the local convenience center.
Exactly. That's right.
I don't want that. But now you're going to get a surprise when you go to get that tag renewed for that hybrid.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
That will be an extra $100 bill.
Yes, it will. That law passed January the 1st.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I guess that's because of battery disposal.
No, that's because you're not buying gas and they're not making tax dollars off your purchase of gas.
Yes.
So that's to compensate for that.
Well,
ain't
feel
that
special.
Ain't that something? How special? Yeah, I got surprised when I got mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when I was going to renew the tag. I'm like, it's $100 because it's a hybrid.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah,
yes, sir. It's $100 bill.
That happened to turn of the calendar.
In addition to your wheel tax or your registration fees and all that other stuff. Did I say wheel tax out loud?
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry, but yeah, every hybrid vehicle it's $100 or EV or hybrid. It's an additional $100.
I think it's $100 for a hybrid. I think it's more for an EV.
Well, it may be
because they don't buy any gas at all.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That just rubs me.
It rubbed me
just rubs me.
Well, and that goes to on that open title, because you know a lot of people will try to buy one, turn around and sell it under that open title. That's what they're worried about on you not signing as the buyers. They're missing that tax money. You have got to legally register that thing and then turn around buy it as an individual. You can do 7 a year in the state of Tennessee, but they are missing revenue if you skip ownership on that car.
Gotcha.
And to me, I swear, where I've been doing this for 20 years, once a car is initially bought and that sales tax paid, that ought to be the end of it.
That'll be it.
You know, I think you can pay for your registration, but I'm against paying the sales tax every time that car changes ownership.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you know, hey, that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
It's how the world tumbles.
Yeah. I already paid it once. Why should you have to pay it again and again and again and again? But needless to say, ain't nobody listening that's going to change that for us.
Now, you can do, you know, say if you were going to sell one to a relative, you can do a gift form once a
I've
year
had that. I've had that.
and get out of paying your sales tax that way. But
Yeah. What is sales tax on a used vehicle when you do that?
so when you do it as an individual, you're 9.9%. As a dealer, we pay 7%, but they compensate that with a state and local single article tax that's 36 to the county and 44 to the state.
Wow. Boy, they hit you everywhere.
Yeah.
Good night.
As my Papa said, they going to get theirs.
They're going to get it. That's right. That's right.
And then, of course, when you do a trade-in, you only tax the difference. And if it's an even trade, there is no tax. So, if I traded you my Honda CRV for your truck, we wrote it up as an even trade, there's no tax. If we wrote it up, my car's $6,000, I'm allowing you $3,000. You only pay tax on the difference. So they do let you get out a little bit on
So you
trade.
get a little bit out that way.
And that's where, it sometimes makes it like the lady was talking about earlier about trading in.
Mhm.
It's a case by case scenario, but sometimes it benefits you to trade for your tax savings. Sometimes if you've got the ability to buy outright and then sell your car outright, you're going to do better that way. And you're always better on new car dealer side going in with cash down payment versus a trade. Unless you're trying to bury negative equity or get out of a payment or something.
Fantastic. Tell them real quick where they find you. The time's slipped away
It's
from us.
gone,
It's
yeah.
gone. Yeah.
We are at 7613 Maynardville Pike on the north end of Halls. It's Iron Horse Auto. My name's Taylor. Like I said, come see us, give me a shot, and we'll do the best we can for you.
Absolutely. As always, great job, my brother Skip.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Grab those people that you love and tell them you love them. And we'll be back next Saturday talking home improvement again. It's Rick's house. See you later.